Good morning, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center, Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm here with Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Hmm. Yeah, he has that face expression on his face because it's cold. He's like, man, it's cold out here. Well, we're getting closer and closer to winter. We're in the throes of fall, and almost all of the trees have lost their leaves. So the colorful days of fall are just about over. There are a couple of maples holding on, and the oaks always hold on, the red oaks, till next year. But yeah, so let's talk astrology. There's a lot of stuff going on today. We have the moon in Virgo all day, and it's a pretty busy time for both the moon in Virgo and Virgo's ruler, Mercury. Before we get to that, I'd like to announce that Venus has entered Libra. Yes, Venus finally finds a little bit of solace in Libra. She's been through the freaking mill, hasn't she, with that retrograde for so long in Leo. And then she gets out of her shadow finally, gets stuck in a yod, and then dives into to Virgo, rolling up her sleeves, and Saturn says, wait a minute, Virgo, wait a minute, Venus and Virgo, here's a reality check for you. Well, we've had plenty of reality, haven't we? We've seen plenty of reality. Remember, Venus is the ruler of is a Venus ruled sign, right? And Venus is in charge of the South Node right now, which has been getting bombarded by Pluto. So let's just say it's suffice to say Venus has been through it. So now she gets to sit in Libra, which she rules. So it's a comfortable spot. But wait a minute, who's that coming around the corner? It's Saturn. So as soon as Venus moves into Libra, her comfort zone, she is inconjuncted by Saturn, and Saturn in Pisces says, you think your work's over? Now your work really begins. Well, in part, I think because, we're talking about diplomacy, we're talking about compassion, when we're talking about Saturn and Pisces bringing up the necessity, perhaps, for compassion, which is, I think, easy enough to bring up when we look around the world. The challenge is, what are we going to do about it, and how are we going to change it? That may not be Venus's necessarily her prime directive, but certainly the need to relate in a more fair way is certainly Venus's priority, and she's no shrinking violet. So I think we'll get some things moving forward on that. I'm thinking of Rashida Tlaib, who was just censured by the House for her comments on Gaza. Let's just keep in mind she's the only Palestinian in Congress. She is, and her grandmother lives in Gaza, and she has family in Gaza, and just imagine if your hometown was being bombed by somebody who was being paid, the bombs were being given to by the government that you love, right? So it's really blessings to Rashida, and if you can donate to her campaign, she has the right to say what she says. Check it out, see what she said, see how the horrible thing that she said, and now they're gonna probably go after her, try to get her ousted out of her seat. I guess if that would be AIPAC does that. So there's that. That's the only, I think, well, that's not, I'm actually going to do a little bit more of political stuff. Ivanka today is going to be testifying. So that should be interesting. That also is a sort of a Venus Saturn in conjunct moment. We also have the Sun and Chiron in an in conjunct today. Chiron in Aries, the Sun in Scorpio. This really is about having to make emotional adjustments. It's an opportunity to heal. But it's also an opportunity to wound, depending on whether the wounded person even thinks they have a problem. There's always that. Mercury is sextiling Pluto today. Remember I said Mercury is going to be busy today. It's in a sextile to Pluto. Sextiles are mentally stimulating and move in the direction of progressive change, this particular sextile. But there is an energy of digging deep and pulling out the information. Now, whether that information is going to come out of Ivanka's mouth or is going to get questioned through the AG in New York, or maybe it's something else. But there is information coming out today that's going to have big import and a big input. By the end of the evening, we have the moon trine Pluto. That's lovely. That sort of gives us a little boost. Sextile Mercury, we'll be able to talk about our feelings today. But generally a pretty active, informative, if not completely, we get the complete story. We'll get parts of it, and I think we'll be able to discern from there. But an information-packed day, an opportunity to do something good, to move in the direction of what is right instead of what those in charge or hold all the purse strings expect us to say. That's the story, morning glories. And I'm going to go because my hands are pretty cold, and I think Charlie wants to go back in. I mean, had it been Charlotte, he would have been okay because she had that big coat, but we never did see Charlotte again. Michael was convinced that she passed. In fact, the day that she sort of walked out the door and didn't come back, he walked out the door and said, "Where's Charlotte? I don't think she's with us anymore." And he's pretty psychic, so that was kind of sad. But she was here when my mother passed, around the time my mother passed, and before, during, and a little bit after. And so she was our little kitty angel. We love her very much. And if she is in fact still incarnate, or she's reincarnating, we'd be happy to have her back. Thank you, Charlotte. And I'm going to go. I think, did you hear that sound? I think that was my pinky freezing off and falling to the ground. So I'm going to go. Love you guys. Take care. Much love. Namaste.